In the beautiful city of Lagos, there lived a woman named Jemima who thought she had married a saint. Her husband, Alexander, was the kind of man who prayed loudly in church, quoted scriptures to win arguments, and smiled at everyone like he was running for governor. Alexander worked as a senior property officer at Prime Estate Limited, one of the biggest real estate companies in Lagos. He dealt with properties worth hundreds of millions, yet at home, he treated money like it was his personal enemy. Every Monday morning, Alexander would give Jemima exactly 15,000 naira for the week. Not a kobo more, not a kobo less. And every Monday, he would sit her down and give her a lecture about financial discipline that lasted longer than a Sunday service. "My dear wife," he would say, tapping his calculator like it was a holy book, "money is not easy to find in this economy. We must be wise. We must manage resources properly." Jemima would nod quietly. Even though 15,000 naira was barely enough to feed their two children, Jasmine, who was 7 years old, and Josiah, who was 5 years old, for a week, let alone buy toiletries, pay for fuel, or handle emergencies. What people saw was a happy family. Alexander drove a clean car, wore expensive suits to work, and always had money for church offerings and Owambi parties. But what happened behind closed doors was a different movie entirely. Jemima had learned to perform miracles with small money. She would buy the cheapest rice and mix it with gari when the rice finished early. She would cook without enough ingredients and somehow make it taste good. She washed Jasmine and Josiah's school uniforms by hand because there was no money for dry cleaning or new ones. The children's textbooks were old and torn. Jasmine had been asking for new school shoes for 2 months because her current ones had holes, but Jemima had to keep patching them with cardboard. Meanwhile, Alexander's phone was always buzzing with messages. Always. And whenever Jemima came close, he would quickly press the screen against his chest and smile nervously. "Work messages," he would say. "You know how demanding my job is." But Jemima's spirit was not sleeping. Something was not adding up. One Tuesday evening, Alexander's phone rang while he was in the bathroom. Jemima was folding clothes nearby when she heard it vibrating on the bed. The caller ID said Chief Adebayo-Client. She almost ignored it, but something made her pick it up. "Hello?" She answered quietly. There was a pause. Then a female voice, sweet like honey mixed with poison, said, "Oh, you're not Alex, baby." "No, I'm his wife. Can I help you?" Another pause. Longer this time. Then the woman laughed softly. "His wife? Interesting. Tell him Sophia called. He'll know what it's about." Click. The call ended. Jemima stood there, frozen. Her heart was beating like a talking drum. Sophia? And why was a woman's number saved as Chief Adebayo-Client? When Alexander came out of the bathroom, Jemima was sitting calmly on the bed, folding clothes as if nothing had happened. "Your phone rang," she said casually. "Chief Adebayo." Alexander's face twitched slightly, but he recovered quickly. "Oh, what did he say?" "He didn't say anything. I think the network cut." Alexander nodded, picked up his phone, and walked out of the room quickly. Too quickly. Jemima continued folding clothes, but her mind was working faster than a computer. That was definitely a woman's voice. And the way Alexander rushed out confirmed her suspicions. Her husband was hiding something big. That night, she couldn't sleep. She lay beside Alexander, listening to him snore peacefully while her thoughts raced. Should she confront him? Should she investigate more? Should she pray about it? She decided to do all three. Jemima was not a fool. She had been managing small money for so long that she knew how to stretch 1 naira into 2. So if Alexander was claiming the economy was hard, yet he always had fuel in his car, always smelled like expensive perfume, and always had airtime, then money was going somewhere else. She started paying attention, really paying attention. She noticed that every Friday evening, Alexander would dress extra nice. He would polish his shoes twice, spray perfume like he was watering a garden, and claim he was going for business dinners with clients. Business dinners that ended at midnight. Business dinners that made him come home smelling like women's perfume. Business dinners that made him whistle love songs in the shower the next morning. Jemima said nothing. She just watched and waited. One Saturday morning, Jemima was doing laundry when she found a crumpled receipt in Alexander's trouser pocket. She almost threw it away, but something made her open it. It was from Golden Palace Restaurant, one of the most expensive places in Lagos. The bill was for 185,000 naira. Jemima's hands began to shake. The receipt showed 2 bottles of champagne, lobster pasta, grilled king prawns, chocolate fondue, and something called Romantic Couples Deluxe Platter. The date was last Friday. The same Friday Alexander claimed he was in a serious business dinner. Jemima sat down slowly on the floor, still holding the wet clothes. This man who gave her 15,000 naira weekly and preached about hard economy had spent 185,000 naira on one dinner. One dinner. Her eyes became hot with tears, but she refused to cry. Instead, she took a photo of the receipt with her phone and put the original back in the pocket. Jemima's best friend, Amara, was the only person she told. "I knew it," Amara shouted when she heard. "I've been telling you that man is doing big boy outside while packaging poverty for you at home. But what should I do?" Jemima asked. "If I confront him, he'll just deny it." Amara smiled wickedly. "My sister, don't confront him. Investigate him. Let's catch him red-handed." These men only confess when evidence slaps them in the face. Together, they created a plan. Amara knew someone who could help them track Alexander's movements. Nothing illegal, just strategic observation. Meanwhile, Jemima continued acting normal at home. Sweet, submissive, unbothered. But inside, she was a detective gathering evidence. 2 weeks later, Amara called Jemima with shocking news. "Babe, sit down. I have found your husband's second life." According to Amara's source, Alexander had been seeing a woman named Sophia for almost a year. This Sophia was a runs girl, the kind who specialized in collecting money from married men. She lived in a luxury apartment in Lekki Phase 1, drove a Mercedes-Benz, and posted her expensive lifestyle on Instagram. Amara sent Jemima the Instagram handle at Sophia Luxury Lifestyle. Jemima's hands trembled as she opened the profile. There she was, Sophia, light-skinned, heavily made up, wearing designer clothes, and posing in expensive restaurants and luxury hotels. And there, in one post from a month ago, Jemima saw something that made her heart stop. In the background of Sophia's mirror selfie, you could see a man's reflection. The face was blurry, but Jemima recognized that watch. It was Alexander's expensive Rolex that he claimed was fake. That night, Jemima cooked dinner like normal. She served Alexander his food with a smile. She asked about his day. She even laughed at his jokes. But inside, a fire was burning. The kind of fire that doesn't destroy immediately. It plans, it calculates, it waits for the perfect moment to strike. Alexander, completely clueless, ate his food happily and even complimented her cooking. "This rice and stew is sweet today. What did you add?" Jemima smiled. "Just a little extra spice." If only he knew the real spice was coming later. After dinner, Alexander sat in the living room watching football while Jemima bathed Jasmine and Josiah and put them to bed. As she tucked them in, Jasmine whispered, "Mummy, when will you buy me new school shoes? Mine are paining me." Jemima's heart broke. "Very soon, my baby. Very soon." That night, as she lay in bed, she made her final decision. She was not going to cry, beg, or make a scene. She was going to be smart about this and let God handle the rest. Monday morning came like every other Monday. Alexander woke up, dressed in his expensive suit, and prepared for work. Before leaving, he called Jemima as usual. "I'll send your weekly money when I get to the office," he said. "Make sure you manage it well. The economy is getting worse." Jemima nodded silently. 15,000 naira. The same amount for 7 years. Alexander got to Prime Estate Limited at exactly 8:45 a.m. He settled into his office, opened his laptop, and then remembered he needed to send Jemima her money. He picked up his phone, opened his banking app, and entered Jemima's account details. But before he could enter the amount, his secretary knocked urgently. "Sir, Chief Okonkwo is here for the Victoria Island property deal." Alexander jumped up. "Chief Okonkwo." This was the big one. A 100 million naira property deal he had been working on for 3 months. He quickly put his phone down and rushed to the conference room. The meeting with Chief Okonkwo took 2 hours. It was intense, with negotiations going back and forth. But finally, the chief smiled and stretched out his hand. "Mr. Alexander, you have a deal. My lawyer will process the payment this week." Alexander's heart soared. This deal alone would earn him a commission of over 5 million naira. He shook the chief's hand firmly, barely able to contain his excitement. After seeing Chief Okonkwo off, Alexander returned to his office, grinning like someone who had just won a lottery. He was about to call his boss when his phone rang. It was Sophia. Baby. Her voice purred through the phone. Good morning, my king. Have you sent my rent money? My landlord is disturbing me seriously. Alexander had completely forgotten. 2 weeks ago, Sophia had been crying about her rent. The landlord was demanding 4 million naira for annual rent, and she had been begging Alexander to pay it. Don't worry, baby, Alexander said confidently, still high from his big deal. I'll send it now. Really? Ah, Alex baby, you're the best. I love you so much. I love you too, sweetheart. Let me send it now. Alexander hung up and opened his banking app immediately. He was so excited about his big deal and eager to impress Sophia that he wasn't paying attention properly. He saw the transaction screen already open, the same one he had started before Chief Okonkwo arrived. He smiled, thinking he was about to send money to Sophia. He quickly typed in the amount 4,000,000,000. Without double-checking, he pressed send. The phone screen showed transaction successful. Alexander smiled and put his phone away. Done. Sophia would be so happy. Maybe she would even cook for him tonight. He went back to his paperwork, completely unaware of what he had just done. 3 hours later, Sophia called again. Her voice was no longer sweet. Alexander, where is my money? I've been checking my account since morning. Alexander frowned. What do you mean? I sent it hours ago. Well, it's not here. Check again. Alexander's heart skipped. He quickly opened his banking app and checked his transaction history. Then his world stopped. Debit alert. Your account has been debited with NGN 4,000,000 to Jemima Alexander. New balance. NGN 45,200.00. Alexander stared at the screen. His hands started shaking. His vision blurred. No. He had sent 4 million naira to his wife. 4 million naira. The money meant for Sophia's rent. The money he had been saving from property commissions. All of it had gone to Jemima. Hello? Alexander. Are you there? Sophia's voice screeched through the phone. I am. There's a network issue, Alexander stammered. Let me check with the bank. I'll call you back. He hung up before she could respond. Jemima was at the market, haggling over the price of tomatoes when her phone beeped. She almost ignored it, but decided to check. Credit alert. Your account has been credited with NGN 4,000,000 from Alexander Musa. New balance NGN 4,003,450.00. Jemima stopped breathing. She read the message again. Then one more time. 4 million naira? From Alexander? Her first thought was that it was a mistake, a bank error or a scam message. Jemima stood in the middle of the market, holding her phone like it was a bomb. People pushed past her, but she didn't move. 4 million naira. From Alexander. The same man who counted kobo before giving her money. Something was definitely wrong, and she had a strong feeling this money was not meant for her. 20 minutes later, Alexander called. His voice was shaking. Hello, darling, he said, trying desperately to sound casual. How is your day going? Jemima, who had now recovered from her shock and was already thinking strategically, replied sweetly, It's going well, my dear. And yours? Fine. Very fine. By the way, did you receive any message today? From the bank? Bank message. Jemima played innocent. Like what? Alexander's voice went higher. Like maybe money? An alert? Maybe I sent something by mistake. Oh, you mean the 15,000 naira weekly upkeep? Her voice suddenly excited. Yes, I got it. Alex, thank you so much. There was dead silence on the other end. Jemima. Alexander's voice was barely a whisper. That money, it was what, darling? Jemima's voice was sweet, but with an edge. I have to go now. The market is closing. The network is really bad. I cannot hear you properly. Click. The call ended. Alexander stared at his phone in complete shock. She had hung up on him and even claimed she only received 15,000 naira. He whispered to himself, his gut tightening. He knew she was lying. After 9 years of marriage, Alexander understood Jemima too well. She could be charming but also mischievous when it suited her. Jemima and Alexander had been university sweethearts. She studied law at the University of Lagos, while Alexander was pursuing a degree in estate surveying. Their love blossomed through busy days of campus life, and upon graduation, they got married. Not long after, Jemima became pregnant. Alexander had lovingly begged her to be a stay-at home mother until the children were old enough to enter secondary school and move to boarding house. He wanted no one else to raise his children but the two of them, just him and Jemima. Jemima called Amara immediately. "Girl, you won't believe what just happened." When she explained about the 4,000,000 naira, Amara screamed so loud that Jemima had to move the phone from her ear. "Shut up," Jemima shouted at her jokingly. "God is not asleep. That money was definitely meant for that Sophia girl." Amara said. "Exactly what I'm thinking," Jemima said, grinning. "So I've decided to do something about it." "What are you going to do?" "I'm going shopping. And I'm going to shop like there's no tomorrow." Amara said. "Girl, you better spend that money before he finds a way to collect it back." "Oh, I'm spending it. Every single kobo. This is my salary for 7 years of suffering." That evening, Alexander came home like someone who had wrestled with a ghost. His eyes were red, his shirt was wrinkled, and he walked in like a man going to his funeral. "Welcome, darling," Jemima sang sweetly from the kitchen. She was wearing a new outfit, a beautiful Ankara dress that hugged her body perfectly. Alexander stared at her. "Is that new?" "Yes. You like it?" "I felt like treating myself today." Alexander's eye twitched. "My love, with what money?" Jemima smiled innocently. "Oh, God just blessed me." Mysteriously. Mysteriously? "Yes. Isn't God wonderful? After all these years of managing small money, he finally remembered me." Alexander opened his mouth, then closed it, then opened it again. "Jemima, I'm about that money." "What money, dear?" The one that entered your account today." "Oh, that money. Yes, it came. Thank you so much, darling. I didn't know you had been saving to surprise me. You're such a wonderful husband. Mwah." She hugged him and planted a kiss on his forehead. Alexander was confused and speechless at the same time. He tried to open his mouth, but the words wouldn't come out. How will he explain to his dear wife that the 4 million naira he sent to her account was actually meant for his side chick's rent, when she had been begging for money to change their children's uniforms, shoes, bags, and even textbooks, and he kept claiming he had none? For the next 2 days, Sophia's calls became more aggressive. "Alexander, I don't understand. Where's my rent money? Baby, please understand. There was a banking error. I'm trying to fix it." "Banking error for 2 days? Do you think I'm stupid? My landlord is threatening to throw my things out. Just give me a few more days, I promise." "You've been promising for weeks. If I don't get my 4 million naira by this week, Alexander, I'm coming to your house. And I mean it." The line went dead. Alexander sat in his office, sweating like a Christmas goat. His life was falling apart, and he couldn't do anything about it. Meanwhile, Jemima was living her best life. She came home 2 days later after the mysterious credit alert, carrying shopping bags. "Jasmine, Josiah," she called happily. "Come and see what Mummy bought." The children ran out excitedly. Their eyes widened when they saw brand new school uniforms, new shoes, new school bags, and even new toys. "Mummy," Jasmine screamed. "New shoes. Real new shoes." Josiah was hugging his new Spider-Man school bag like it was made of gold. Alexander came out of the bedroom and froze when he saw the shopping bags. His eye twitched violently. "Jemima, what is all this?" Jemima smiled brightly. "Oh, I used part of the money you sent to buy things for the children. You don't mind, right? After all, you sent it for the family." Alexander opened his mouth, but no words came out. What could he say? That the money was actually meant for his side chick's rent? "Mummy, can we go to ShopRite this weekend?" Jasmine asked excitedly. "Of course, darling," Jemima replied. "We can even go to the movies." Alexander felt like his soul was leaving his body. Over the next few days, Jemima continued her shopping spree. She bought new textbooks for the children. She took them to ShopRite and treated them to Mr. Biggs. She bought herself new clothes, a new wig, new makeup. She even bought new kitchen appliances. Every evening, Alexander would come home to find something new. New curtains, new bedsheets, new pots, new everything. And the food. Jemima started cooking elaborate meals. Jollof rice with full chicken, fried rice with prawns, pepper soup with big fish, ice cream for dessert. The children were in heaven. Alexander was in hell. He watched his 4 million naira disappear day by day, item by item. And he couldn't say a single word because how could he explain that the money was meant for another woman? Jemima took a picture with Jasmine and Josiah after their movie date, shopping bags in hand. She updated her WhatsApp status with the caption, When God decides to bless you mysteriously, even the bank works in your favor. Blessed and grateful, followed by a heart emoji. When Alexander saw the update, he felt like smashing his phone on the floor. Sophia had reached her breaking point. Her landlord had locked her apartment and threatened to throw her belongings out if she didn't pay by the end of the day. She sent Alexander one final message. Alexander, I don't care about your excuses anymore. If I don't see my 4 million naira today, I'm coming to your house this evening. And I mean it. Try me and see. Alexander read the message and felt his heart drop to his stomach. She was serious. He knew Sophia well enough to know when she meant business. He tried calling her to beg. She didn't answer. He sent her messages. She didn't reply. At 5 p.m., his phone beeped with a message. I'm on my way to your house. Hope your wife is ready for the truth. Alexander rushed home, hoping to intercept Sophia before she caused trouble. But when he got home at 6:15 p.m., Jemima was in the kitchen cooking dinner peacefully, humming gospel songs. You're home early, she said, smiling. Dinner will be ready soon. Alexander couldn't even respond. He sat in the living room, watching the door like a prisoner waiting for execution. At exactly 6:45 p.m., there was a loud, aggressive knock on the gate. I'll get it, Jemima said cheerfully, walking towards the door. No. Alexander jumped up. I'll check it. But Jemima had already opened the door. Standing there in a tight red dress, full makeup, and heels that could break bones was Sophia. Her face was twisted with anger. Good evening, Jemima said calmly, already knowing exactly who this was. Sophia didn't even greet. She pushed past Jemima into the house. Where's Alexander? Alexander appeared from the living room, looking like a man about to faint. Sophia, what are you doing here? What am I doing here? Sophia's voice was loud enough to wake the entire street. You've been dodging me. My landlord has embarrassed me. He locked my apartment and threw my things outside like I'm a beggar. And you're asking me what I'm doing here? Jemima closed the door quietly and folded her arms, watching the show like it was a Nollywood movie. I told you I would fix it. Alexander pleaded desperately. Fix it. Sophia laughed bitterly. You've been saying that. Meanwhile, you sent my 4 million naira to her. She pointed at Jemima with a shaking finger. Jemima's eyebrows rose slowly. Oh, so the money was meant for you. Sophia turned to her with fire in her eyes. Yes, your husband promised to pay my rent. 1 year rent of 4 million naira, and he sent it to you by mistake. Mistake, Jemima repeated slowly, her voice dangerously calm. So while I've been managing 15,000 naira per week, my husband has 4 million naira to pay another woman's rent. That's right, Sophia snapped. Because he loves me. He takes care of me. Unlike you who can't even satisfy him at home. The words hung in the air like poison. Jemima felt something break inside her chest. But her face remained calm. Too calm. Alexander, she said quietly, her voice like ice. Is this true? Alexander looked like he wanted to disappear into the floor. Don't even bother denying it. Sophia pulled out her phone. You want me to show her the messages? The voice notes? The videos of us together? Jemima held up her hand. Please, show me everything. Alexander's eyes went wide with panic. Sophia, don't. But Sophia was beyond caring. She pressed play on a voice note, and Alexander's voice filled the room. Baby, I can't wait to see you this Friday. Jemima is so boring. She doesn't know how to dress, how to talk, how to make a man feel special. Not like you. You're everything I need. Another voice note. I wish I could leave her, but you know how it is. The children and society. But in my heart, you're my real wife. She's just the woman I made the mistake of marrying. With each recording, Jemima's face became harder, colder, like ice forming over water. When the recordings ended, the silence was suffocating. Jasmine and Josiah had come out of their room and were watching with frightened eyes. Daddy? Jasmine's small voice broke the silence. Why is that woman saying bad things about Mommy? That single question shattered whatever was left of Alexander's dignity. Jemima looked at her children, then at Sophia, then at Alexander. When she finally spoke, her voice was so quiet it was terrifying. Sophia, thank you for opening my eyes. You can have him. I'm done. She turned and walked calmly to the bedroom. 5 minutes later, she came out with a bag already packed. Jasmine, Josiah, get your school bags. We're leaving. Leaving? Alexander finally found his voice. Jemima, please. Don't, Jemima said, her voice sharp enough to cut glass. "Don't say my name. Don't touch me. Don't even breathe near me." She took her children's hands and walked towards the door. Alexander dropped to his knees. "Please, Jemima. I'm sorry. I made a terrible mistake. Please don't take my children away from me." Jemima stopped at the door and turned around slowly. "Your mistake wasn't sending the money to me. Your mistake was who you chose to be. And that mistake started long before today." She looked at Sophia one last time. "Enjoy your 4 million naira rent. I've already spent it on my children's future and my own sanity. As for you," she looked at Alexander, "you wanted her so badly? Now you have her. Congratulations." And with that, Jemima walked out with Jasmine and Josiah, leaving Alexander kneeling on the floor and Sophia standing there in her red dress, suddenly realizing she had won a war but lost the battle. The door closed quietly behind them. Jemima spent that first night at Amara's house, crying until she had no tears left. She called her parents and told them everything. By the next morning, Alexander had also gone to his parents, begging them to help him plead with Jemima. The next day, both sets of parents met to discuss the situation. Alexander's father, Chief Musa, and his mother, Mrs. Comfort, were deeply ashamed of their son's behavior. Jemima's parents, Mr. and Mrs. Adebayo, were furious but willing to hear what could be done. After long discussions, they all agreed to visit Jemima together at Amara's house. On the second day after Jemima left, there was a knock on Amara's door. When she opened it, she saw both sets of parents standing there with serious faces. Alexander was with them, looking like a man who hadn't slept in days. "Good morning," Mr. Adebayo said solemnly. "We're here to see our daughter." Alexander's mother was already crying. "Please, we need to talk to Jemima. We need to beg her." Amara looked back at Jemima, who nodded slowly. They all came inside and sat in the small living room. The silence was heavy. Finally, Chief Musa cleared his throat. "Jemima, my daughter, what my son did was unforgivable. We are ashamed. We are embarrassed. But please, we are begging you. Don't destroy this marriage." Mrs. Comfort fell to her knees. "Please, my daughter. I know my son is useless. I know he has disgraced us. But please find it in your heart to forgive him." Jemima sat calmly, her face showing no emotion. "Mama, it's not about forgiveness. I can forgive him, but I cannot continue living like a beggar in my own marriage while my husband spends millions on another woman." Alexander, who had been silent, finally spoke. His voice was broken. "Jemima, I know I don't deserve you. I know I've been wicked. But please, give me one more chance. I'll change. I'll do anything. Just don't take my children away from me." Jemima looked at him with cold eyes. "You had chances. Multiple chances. Every time I begged for money and you made me feel like a burden, that was a chance. Every time the children needed something and you said no, that was a chance. You used all your chances." Jemima's mother touched her daughter's hand gently. "My dear, I understand your pain. But think about your children. Think about their future." Jemima was quiet for a long time. Then she spoke, her voice steady and clear. "I will consider coming back. But I have one condition. Just one." Everyone leaned forward. "Alexander must give me 15 million naira to start my own business. Not 1 naira less. I'm done depending on monthly handouts. I'm done begging. If he wants this marriage to continue, he will invest in me the same way he invested in his girlfriend." The room went silent. Alexander's eyes widened. 15 million? Yes, Jemima said calmly. "You had 4 million for Sophia's rent. You had money for expensive dinners, for champagne, for everything she wanted. Surely you can find 15 million for your wife and the mother of your children. Or was I never worth it?" Chief Musa cleared his throat. "That is a lot of money, Jemima. And 4 million for a girlfriend's rent is what, sir?" Jemima asked sharply. "Let me make this clear. I'm not negotiating. Either he gives me 15 million naira by the end of this month to start my business, or this marriage is over. Those are my terms." Mrs. Comfort looked at her son. "Alexander, do you have this money?" Alexander swallowed hard. I can get it. With my savings and the commission from the chief Okonkwo deal. Yes, I can get it by month end." "Good," Jemima said. "Then we have an agreement." Both fathers nodded solemnly. "Alexander," Chief Musa said sternly, "we will come back at the end of the month to make sure you fulfill this promise. If you fail, you will face the consequences alone. We will support Jemima's decision to leave." Alexander nodded, looking defeated but determined. On the last Friday of the month, both sets of parents returned to Amara's house. This time, the atmosphere was different. There was tension, yes, but also hope. Alexander, Chief Musa said firmly, "Today is the day. Do you have the money?" Alexander nodded. He pulled out his phone and opened his banking app. His hands were steady this time as he showed everyone the screen. "I have it. All 15 million naira. From my commission, my savings, and I even sold some investments I had been keeping." Mrs. Comfort's eyes widened. "You sold your investments? Those were your future plans." "Mama," Alexander said quietly, "what is my future worth if I've lost my family?" Jemima sat across from him, her face still unreadable. "Then transfer it. Let everyone here witness it." Alexander nodded and began the transfer process. The room was so quiet you could hear people breathing. He typed carefully, checked the account number 3 times, and then pressed send. Everyone waited. Jemima's phone beeped. "Credit alert. Your account has been credited with NGN 15 million.00 from Alexander Musa. New balance NGN 18,987,320.00. She showed the alert to both sets of parents. Mr. Adebayo nodded with satisfaction. "It is done." Mrs. Adebayo looked at her daughter. "Jemima, your husband has fulfilled his promise. Will you honor your word and return home?" Jemima stood up slowly. She looked at Alexander for a long moment. He looked broken, humbled, genuinely remorseful. "Yes," she said finally. "I will return home. Not because of the money, but because both our parents are here as witnesses. Because my children deserve to see their father try to become a better man. And because I believe in second chances. But understand this, Alexander. This is your last chance. If you ever betray me again, no amount of money or begging will bring me back." Alexander stood up, tears streaming down his face. "I promise you, Jemima, on everything I hold dear, I will never hurt you again. I will spend every day proving that I deserve you." Chief Musa stood up and clapped his hands. "Then it is settled. Let us pray and celebrate this reconciliation." Both families joined hands as Chief Musa led them in prayer, thanking God for restoration and asking for wisdom and strength for Alexander and Jemima's marriage. After the prayer, Mrs. Comfort announced, "We brought food. Let us celebrate this new beginning." The atmosphere shifted from tense to joyful. Both mothers went to the kitchen together with Amara and brought out jollof rice, fried rice, chicken, salad, and drinks they had prepared earlier, hoping for this exact outcome. The family sat together, eating and talking. Jasmine and Josiah, who had been quiet and worried throughout the ordeal, finally smiled again seeing their parents together and both sets of grandparents celebrating. Alexander sat beside Jemima. "May I?" he asked quietly, gesturing to the seat next to her. Jemima nodded. As they ate, Alexander leaned over and whispered, "Thank you for giving me another chance. I know I don't deserve it." Jemima looked at him. "You're right. You don't deserve it. But I'm not doing this for you alone. I'm doing it for our children, for our families, and because I believe people can change if they truly want to. Don't make me regret this decision." "I won't," Alexander promised. "Starting tomorrow, you'll see a different man." The celebration continued into the evening. Mr. Adebayo gave Alexander a stern but fatherly talk about respecting and valuing his wife. Mrs. Comfort pulled Jemima aside and apologized for not raising her son better, promising to support her going forward. As the sun set and the families prepared to leave, Chief Musa gathered everyone for a final word. "Today, we have witnessed something beautiful. A marriage that was broken is being restored. Alexander, you have been given a gift. A second chance that many men never get. Use it wisely. Jemima, you have shown strength and wisdom. May God bless your business, and may this 15 million naira be the seed of something great." He also brought gifts for Amara for being a good friend to his daughter-in-law. He turned to both of them. Marriage is not easy. It requires work, sacrifice, and choosing each other every single day. Remember this moment. Remember how close you came to losing everything, and let it guide you forward. Everyone said their goodbyes, and finally, Alexander and Jemima returned home with their children. "Daddy." Josiah ran and hugged his father's leg. "Are you and Mummy not fighting anymore?" Alexander picked up his son and hugged him tightly. "No, my boy. Daddy made terrible mistakes, but I'm going to fix them. I'm going to be a better father and a better husband." Jasmine came and held Jemima's hand. "Mummy, are we a family again?" Jemima smiled, and stroked her daughter's hair. "Yes, baby. We're a family, and we're going to be stronger than before." That night, after putting the children to bed, Alexander and Jemima sat in the living room. The silence between them was not comfortable yet, but it was no longer filled with anger. "I know it will take time," Alexander said quietly. "I know you can't trust me overnight, but I want you to know that I'm committed to earning back your trust, your respect, and hopefully, one day, your love again." Jemima nodded. "Actions, Alexander. Not words. Show me through your actions every single day." "I will," he promised. And so began their journey of rebuilding. It wasn't perfect. There were difficult days ahead, but they had taken the first step. Together. Now, let me share with you the lessons from this story. Never take your spouse for granted. Alexander made the terrible mistake of treating his wife like a burden while lavishing money and attention on another woman. Many men and women fall into this trap, giving their best to outsiders while their own family suffers in silence. But it's not only about spouses. Sometimes even siblings and relatives becomes unkind and cold toward one another, forgetting that true loyalty begins at home. Life has a way of returning every seed we plant, good or bad. So be kind. Be considerate. Be protective. Let your love begin with those closest to you, because no blessing ever comes from neglecting the people who truly care for you.